I must say, if it's a choice between Gary Lineker and the current Home Secretary, I would choose Gary Lineker every time. I hardly know who Gary Lineker is, frankly, but I, I, I think anyone who he articulates the issue quite well. He said that he backs pro-Palestinian protesters over the Armistice Day march. Calling for a ceasefire and peace is not really the definition of a hate march. I'm entirely in agreement with him. But that's when you look at something as a concept rather than as a shoddy reality. The shoddy reality is that there are pockets on these marches who are deeply anti-Semitic, who are calling for the eradication of Israel, who are supporting Hamas, a terrorist organization, and so on. And the idea, as Rishi Sunak has said, that the planned protest was provocative and disrespectful, will be an affront to the British public and the values we stand for. Again, I think that's not true. The values we stand for are respect for human life, respect for freedom, and the treatment of the Palestinians falls beneath the level of compassion that we believe is appropriate. That is part of our social makeup, I think. I would be very surprised if we were not standing for those who are suffering. In the same breath, I think we should be standing for the people of Israel who are equally suffering, and I certainly wouldn't be standing to support the government of Israel, but I would certainly stand for the people. However, I think agreeing to a march on the same day that there are so many people in the middle of London commemorating the end of the First World War and the memory of people who have died in the wars as combatants, this is provocative and is foolish. I think it was a close call last year when there was an Albanian march on the day before the Armistice Day celebrations, and the usual crowd complained. Again, it comes down to the failure of the Home Secretary, and it seems extraordinary planning by the police that they can say, "Oh, you're a Jewish organisation. You want to have a gathering in Golders Green, but you can't because it's 7 miles away from a big pro-Palestinian organisation." And yet, on Armistice Day, they can say, "Oh, you can have a march, a pro-Palestinian march on Armistice Day through the centre of London, while the King is laying wreaths, while veterans are marching past the cenotaph." It borders on madness that this is something that our police force consider acceptable, that they can stop a pro-Israeli march and a pro-Israeli assembly and a pro-Jewish assembly in Golders Green, but accept this extraordinary expression, an extraordinary opportunity for serious civil unrest. I think it's provocative. Now, I think there are plenty of people. There are plenty of people with opinions. I think the call for a ceasefire. A ceasefire is a technical term. Call for peace, I support. A call for a ceasefire in the middle of a war, when it's not going to be granted by the by the Israeli authorities, is a lot of hot air. It's virtue signalling, and it's pointless. We call for something that is achievable rather than for something which makes us feel good.